On June the 29th, 2023, the South Korean Game Rating and Administration Committee was disbanded. Over 5,000 people signed a petition because they believed a game was age-rated incorrectly. This led to an audit. What they found was that this government branch was actually embezzling funds, but the major twist was that this was over one major gacha game. It's not Genshin Impact, it's not Raid Shadow Legends, but a different game altogether. And the game itself is Blue Archive. How did this happen? What led to this moment? How did over 5,000 Blue Archive players come together to expose government embezzlement? This has to be the funniest gaming-related story in 2023. Nay, potentially of all time. This is probably the last game I would have expected to see as a catalyst for a massive governmental scandal. Listen as I tell you the wacky story of Blue Archive, the story of over 5,000 senseis, and the story of how Blue Archive took down the entire Korean rating board.
Starlogical 先生、お帰りなさい。お待ちしておりました。
First, you have to explain what Blue Archive is. It's a mobile-only free-to-play gacha game published by Llynx Korea, best known for MapleStory and Dave the Diver. The moment-to-moment gameplay is fairly simple. You control a squad of 6 characters, 2 supports, and 4 strikers. While the game primarily controls itself, you have some agency in the form of your character's EX skills. What they do, of course, varies, but in terms of actually doing stuff in Blue Archive, you'll be spending 90% of the time doing things outside of combat. Whether it's pulling new characters, progressing through the story, managing your cafe, or holding lessons. Like most gacha games, most of the gameplay is done in menus. You take the role of someone only known as Sensei.
Hey! Stop fucking with Korean Jesus. He ain't got time for your problems. He busy with Korean shit.
You actually name your character, but only 1 or 2 characters actually say your name, whereas most everyone else just calls you Sensei. Like most gacha games, the most fun part about this game is actually pulling the gacha and potentially getting what you want for free, without spending a single dime. While the game is ultimately pay to win, the game is quite generous for free-to-play players, so you recruit from a number of different students, many of them from different schools. As you may have expected from a gacha game, you'll have to pull multiple times to get the characters you'll want, though the rates are more forgiving than, say, Genshin Impact. Every character has their own unique firearm, their own personalized weapon. That said, for this game, I would argue that the least important part of the game is the gameplay itself. A lot of people really like the aesthetics and the characters and the story and also just the vibe. The game has gotten extremely popular. It's even gotten to the point where there's an official anime coming pretty soon. And of course, the game's popularity has benefited Llynx a great deal, being considered to be one of the biggest contributors to their revenue from Japan in Q2 of 2023, around $163 million in revenue. Llynx ain't a small company either. They published Dungeon Fighter Online, MapleStory, Dave the Diver, and I guess now Blue Archive. There's no telling how much this game will make this year, but Blue Archive is not all sunshine and rainbows. The story does get dark from time to time, and also there's some controversy surrounding the game itself. But this video isn't about the game itself, but rather how this game got a certain governmental body involved. So what exactly did they do? Sometime in October 2022, both Fate Grand Order and Blue Archive were rated as 18+. Prior to this, both Fate Grand Order and Blue Archive were rated at 15+, which in turn means you can get those games off of the Korean Play Store and also advertise your games. There was no official reason for why both games became age-rated 18+, and judging by fan reaction back then, it seemed pretty clear. This was an arbitrary increase in age rating. Neither game really upped the ante when it came to explicit content. So what happened? Some Korean Blue Archive players took action, a call to arms so to speak. But in the meantime though, how did Llynx work around this? Well, for the time being, they split the game into 2 different versions, both of which still exist today. One is the 15 version of Blue Archive, with the fan service turned down, with the original version, of course, being uncensored. It's basically like Fire Emblem levels of fan service. So yes, some time passed, which brings us to June 29th, 2023. The rating board was successfully audited, and what the government found was shocking. So shocking that I spoiled it in the first couple of seconds of this video. Government embezzlement. Apparently 700 million South Korean won, which is around $500,000. And this is taxpayer money as well. It was reported that this money went towards the self-rating game integrated management system and self-rating game blockchain joint certification concept verification system. At least that's what this PC Gamer article says. Honestly, I couldn't find any information on either of these 2 projects, so maybe they were cancelled before they even started? Probably. Anyways, the South Korean government thanked the 5,489 senseis that participated in the petition. The 3 found at fault would be replaced and ultimately sentenced, but there's been no word as to whether or not Fate Grand Order and Blue Archive will have their ratings reverted or not. Will they remain 18+? It's not often that you see a video game make it to governmental levels. I mean, this typically only happens with extremely controversial and extremely violent video games, such as Mortal Kombat or Grand Theft Auto. It's really weird to think about Blue Archive being one of those very controversial games that actually affected a governmental body. I mean, it's basically no different from any anime that's been released in like the last 20 years or so, and it's not super violent or anything. I'm also surprised it wasn't super controversial in America, given that it, has a lot of school shootings. So how popular is Blue Archive? Like, actually? Well, I mean, it's fairly popular enough to have an anime, though a lot of gacha games are popular enough to have their own animes. Like, Genshin Impact is supposed to have its own anime pretty soon. Other gacha games like Girls Frontline and Arknights have their own animes, and so it was probably about time Blue Archive got its own anime. The Blue Archive fanbase has even overtaken some of the traditionally more popular Japanese fan bases. Like, looking at the data for 2023's Comiket, it's overtaking the 3 kings of Comiket, that being Type Moon Content, Idolmaster, or Toho. It's very impressive that a Korean IP could get so popular in Japan. But with the anime coming in a couple of days, I think the fan base, especially in the West, is about to get a lot bigger. People that were avoiding the game due to the fact that it was gacha are about to watch the anime. So if you're a Blue Archive fan, you should be prepared, because there's about to be a lot more of you guys. If you like this video, please press the like button and check out our other videos, and if you like those other videos as well, be sure to press the subscribe button and share the good gospel of high-tech lowlife with your friends. Furthermore, we have a community Discord for enlightened individuals such as you. And if you wish to further support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page. Links in the description.